Hello everyone and welcome back once again to my annual NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament Prediction Show right here on my own Facebook page. I'm Eric Eaton. In a few moments I'll predict the tournament for you from the round of 16 all the way to the National Championship game on Monday, April 8th in Atlanta, Georgia. But before I do that, I've got my eye on a couple upsets in the opening round I want to share with you. I've got a number 10 seed Iowa State knocking off a number 7 seed Notre Dame. I've also got a number 12 seed Oregon taking out a number 5 seed Oklahoma State. I've got a number 11 seeded Minnesota team knocking off a number 6 seeded UCLA team. The Bruins will be without their second leading scorer in that ball game. In another 12-5 upset, I've got California taking out UNLV. The Bears will virtually be playing a home game. This game will be in San Jose, California. The big first round upset I've got a number 14 seed Davidson to knock off a number 3 seeded Marquette team in the East region. The Davidson Wildcats come in riding a 17-game winning streak, and I think they will take out Marquette in the big first round upset there. Let's move to my predictions now. Let's start in the Midwest region with the Sweet 16. These games will be held in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium. I've got Louisville taking on St. Louis. I like the Louisville Cardinals to beat a very good St. Louis team, move to the regional final. In the other regional semifinal, I've got Michigan State against Duke, and I think Tom Izzo's team will just be a little too physical for the Duke Blue Devils in this ball game, and I think Michigan State will move on. They'll take on Louisville. What a slugfest that ball game should be. Both teams near their home fan bases in Indianapolis there. Should be a tremendous battle. But Louisville on a roll right now, particularly defensively, led by Peyton Siva. I think they march on to Atlanta, Georgia. Let's move to the West region now. These games will be played in Los Angeles, California. In one regional semifinal, I like Wisconsin to knock off the top-seeded Gonzaga Bulldogs. I think Bo Ryan will come up with a great plan and scheme against the Zags in that one. In the other regional semifinal, I like Ohio State to take out New Mexico. Regional final then will set up a rematch of the Big Ten tournament title, which was won by Ohio State. I think the outcome will be the same this time as well. I think Deshaun Thomas, Aaron Kraft, too much for the Wisconsin Badgers. They'll move to Atlanta, Georgia in the Final Four. On to the South region now in Arlington, Texas. In one regional semifinal, I've got Kansas against VCU, a rematch of a 2010 Final 8 matchup between the two teams, which VCU won. This time I think the outcome will be reversed. I think the Jayhawks will have a chip on their shoulder in this one, knowing that the Rams got them before, and the Jayhawks will move to the regional final. Who will they face? Well, I've got an upstart here, Minnesota to knock off Georgetown in a Sweet 16 game. So that'll set up Minnesota against Kansas in a regional final. And I think Minnesota has the toughness really to battle with Kansas in this ball game. Minnesota's proven they can beat good teams this year. They've beaten Indiana, they've beaten Michigan State, they've beaten Memphis. Sometimes Bill Self's Kansas teams struggle when they come up against an underdog in these latter rounds of the tournament. I think it happens here again. I think Minnesota beats them and moves to the Final Four. Final region to be decided, the East region in Washington, D.C. In one semifinal, I've got Indiana against Syracuse. Teams that have beaten Indiana this year have been teams that have been very sound fundamentally in the half court, both on defense and on offense. Syracuse is defensively with that zone. The problem is Indiana can flat out shoot it from behind the arc, so I think Indiana will get by Syracuse in this ball game. In the other regional semifinal, I like Miami of Florida to take out Butler, and it'll be a Miami against Indiana matchup in the regional final to go to the Final Four, a 1 versus 2 matchup. And I think the number 1 seeded IU Hoosiers will win this ball game. I think Victor Oladipo playing close to home. He's from Maryland. That'll be a big advantage for Indiana in this ball game. And also, I think if Tom Crean can find a way to keep Cody Zeller involved in this ball game offensively, get him the ball time and time again, he could be the difference maker against the Miami Hurricanes. I'm not a big fan of Indiana, but I think they will win this ball game and move on to the Final Four in Atlanta. In Atlanta, in one regional final, I like Louisville to knock off Ohio State. What a great matchup that should be. Rick Pitino against Thad Matta, a great coaching matchup there, but I think Louisville marches on. In the other Final Four, Indiana and Minnesota, they're 1-1 against each other this year. Two great ball games. I think the third one might be a little more decisive Indiana's way. Indiana sees an opportunity to play for the title. I think they will take out the Gophers in this ball game, although Tubby Smith has done a great job coaching both Tulsa, Georgia, and of course Kentucky all had great tournament runs, but I think Indiana will move on and play Louisville for the national championship. I like Louisville to win this ball game over Indiana. Final score 69-62. Defensively, like I said, Indiana struggles against teams that are sound fundamentally in both the half court, offensively and defensively. That's Louisville to a T this year, and I think Louisville will win this ball game, and that means Rick Pitino would have guided two Kentucky schools, both Kentucky and Louisville, to national championships. So I like Louisville to win the 2013 national championship in Atlanta, Georgia. We'll see how it all plays out. Should be a great ride. It always is. My tournament bracket certainly has to be better than last year because I picked Missouri to win it all. They were out in the first round to a 15 seed. We'll see how it turns out. I'm Eric Eaton. Enjoy the games, everyone.